Hi, I'm Audrey Seal, and I pledge. Deciding to pledge was never a very hard choice for me. I always did, and at this point in my life, I guess I always will. I grew up in a time when there were less choices. We went to church, and when the plate was passed for collection, my mom or my grandma would pass me a quarter and I would put it in the plate, always trying to hit the metal part so people would know my quarter went in. Fast forward many decades, and we live in such a different age, often called the age of disruption, but also the age of you choose. Things that we expect to be there and be supported, we now have to choose to support them. It's up to us. Take NPR, for example. I always was a supporter, but now I felt like I needed to step up. I'm not much of a sports fan, but I had to pay to watch the Mariners play. Imagine. And I did. We're the ones who wanted to watch the games when we wanted and skip the commercials, and yet that's how they pay for themselves. So I get it. Disruption, choice. Aspirationally, we may never need to pay for anything we don't use, and I hope that works out. But the church uses pledges. Always has, and it still does. I was asked to talk about pledging, but it seemed important to me to start with this. Epiphany will be here. Open doors, open hearts, for anyone who comes. Anyone who needs epiphany, whether or not they pledge, and that will always be the way that it is because some people do pledge always. And then, based on what was pledged, the staff figures out what they can do. Services, classes, supplies, maintenance, electronics, everything that you see. But what if Epiphany could do more? What if we all together could do more? What if Epiphany had your pledge to count on that you chose to be here, really be here? You put your weight down and you know to yourself and in yourself that you chose to belong. It does make a difference to Epiphany if we pledge, yes, but also it makes a difference to us when we pledge. The reason to pledge is all about us. How do we tell ourselves that we believe in what is going on here? At Epiphany, there's always a seat for you. The coffee, snacks, lunch, they're here, they're free. It all costs money, but you'll never get a bill. Epiphany has said yes many times and in many ways to me. Here's a recent example that I love. When I shared that I considered the family staying at Ronald McDonald House my neighbors in need, and I wanted to cook dinner for them, all the house, one night each month, but I needed helpers, Epiphany said, okay, sure. Here are some bright red Epiphany is here aprons. Go for it. After 1 year of tests, we have so many volunteers, more than we can use in any 1 month, so no one has to show up every month. And we do show up every month. Second Tuesdays, see me or Amanda. And that Epiphany stepped up through service and outreach to support this meal program through all of 2026. I'm so happy. Think about it, up to 170 home-cooked meals, nutritious, prepared from scratch, ready when you are meals, prepared in under 3 hours in kind of a tiny kitchen. It's amazing and such fun together. Did you know you can make ranch dressing from scratch? When we were there this month on our hot from the oven cookie break, a mom came up to us to thank us. She said we would never know what it means to come back to the house after whatever harrowing day she'd had at the hospital, juggling her 3 preteen daughters, one sick, 2 having to come along, always having to be brave and to smile. We'd never know what it means to come back to a meal, nutritious, balanced, and appealing to her kids. There were tears. Thanks to Epiphany, when we show up, the word goes out. The red aprons are here. Or how about this? It's April 2020. It's the height of the pandemic fears and before the pandemic solutions. And it's Easter. Epiphany holds Easter service outside on the playground. They bring out a canopy over the roll-up organ, flowers everywhere because it's Epiphany, seats individually separated, party of 3 over there. And, of course, it rained. We literally, on Easter, in the pandemic, were outside singing in the rain. Who wouldn't love this place? Can you admit that this is your place? It's a great place, a place that turns to the light to love one another, and in a world where you can be anything, Epiphany teaches us to be kind. The world likes to point out what I don't have, what I didn't get, how I'm not enough, and that I'm old. Epiphany helps me see that whatever has been in my life to this point, it has made me the person that I am, and just like you, pretty wonderful. I'm going to guess that if you're still watching this, you're thinking that this is your time to pledge. And that leads to a question, I think, harder than the choice to pledge, which is, how much will I pledge? And I'm right in there with you. How much? Not too much, not too little, but what's just right? Years ago, I was given a plaque that sat on the desk of someone who belonged to Epiphany, not staff, and it read, "You make your living by what you get," like your salary and all, "but you make your life by what you give." And I barely understood it back then, but it seems more and more true as the years pass. So what do? As a start, I look at my pledge with the other choices I have to give to, fees to belong, charges to attend, subscriptions, commitments I already make, because they all do charge before you get to show up at those other places. And then I ask, what do they really mean in my life compared to Epiphany? And it's a whole different channel. I cannot repay Epiphany for what I receive, tangible and intangible, because that is priceless. But I can be counted on to give, and that may be all that's needed. Choose to pledge. By pledging, you choose what Epiphany means, can mean, could mean in our world. Because Epiphany is a great place already. You will be rewarded in the depth and breadth of your experience. Also, big hint, when Amanda asks you to help out with something, say yes. You'll be amazed. Here I am. She asked me to do this, and she told me to wear this. That's Amanda. This is a good time to put your pledge where your heart is. What a wonderful world it will be. Thank you.